Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. So another interesting day, right? We started, the futures were higher. Figured maybe today's the day we could hold above 2388, 2390 in the S&P cash and make a run for 2400. You had Europe almost up 1%, and things were participating, but then right on the open they basically sold it, and we broke right below that area. So if you were long overnight, I was long a pretty decent amount of things overnight. You had to sell some strength, which I always say to do in the morning. Usually before my morning call express, if we're up like 6-7 handles and I'm long, I always sell a third, so then I figure out what the composure of the day is, and then if it's going to be strong in continuation of what I have overnight, I typically put it back on and then maybe even put on more, because you're in more control during the day than what happens overnight. So anyway, they sold it down quick. They started selling it down early on, and reason being because probably the heaviness in oil. Oil has been a laggard, and now it's becoming a headwind again. So the lower it goes, the more of a headwind it becomes, and it's harder to ignore, but we'll see how it goes. As of now, you look at the S&P cash, all said and done, we're still right back in this range. We're still, hovering above the 8-day moving averages. It's now almost 2 weeks of this sideways trade here, consolidating what was a big move post the French elections. The question is it a trap? Are they giving us a false sense of security where we think that we could be accumulating in this area for what will be or could be a potential breakout above this to new highs? I've seen this before where all of a sudden you have a nice range here that looks good and then breaks to the upside. I've also seen it where here, if you remember that day, after 3 candles, it gapped down back to the 21 day and then regrouped and went. So at this point, it seems as if we're ignoring a lot of the weakness underneath the surface in some of like iron ore, commodities, oil, etc. But we shall see. I'm long the market. I'm hoping that we could hold here and then at some point add above this particular spot. Close above this, maybe shorts get squeezed, and then you have this right there. So looking around the horn, IWM still problem spot, had not fallen apart, but it never really holds higher to give you that fast and furious action. It only goes when people don't expect it. From here, beelined all the way to the top, and then if you thought it would hold around here, for an eventual move, again, well, just came back in and probably stopped early buyers out, and now I guess this is your new point of reference on the IWM, 137.11. Maybe it goes sideways and turns back up. All in all, only retraced 50%. Usually I like to see a top third. That means a faster move, but we never know the speed until we let things trade. So here's that. XLF, I came in really long today, a lot of the banks, and at this point still, getting rejected by the 50-day moving average. Tomorrow is the what's it called, the jobs report, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully there's no print of 100,000 or less. Anything above 120, 130 could be helpful because the banks need a June rate hike. All in all, still trying to prove you could sit in it longer. Yesterday I came in, I was buying it versus this level. I added yesterday, sold some today, and I'm still long, and we'll see what happens here tomorrow. I'm not long the XLF, I'm long a lot of Bank of America. Same thing, same similar chart. But anyway, here's where it's getting rejected. So if you bought with me earlier in the week and you added yesterday, I did tweet out earlier that I was selling some above 23.95s. So if you sell some above into strength, you could buy some more, and we'll see what's next. Still broke above that spot there. No real power, but it is hanging here. So this is your level that a lot of us are trading against. In high beta tech, it's all mixed. It's all how you want to trade it. A lot of them have already reported earnings. Some went too far too fast and need to digest. Some still look good. Some are digesting and could give you another move. A lot of things are trying to do price discovery. So when that's the case, you have your levels prepared and you trade them accordingly. Today I said if Tesla doesn't hold the 21-day, just get out of the way. Maybe we'll see a quarter like last quarter and could hold the 50-day. So for now, okay, kind of like last quarter. If you remember last quarter, you had a big move up into highs, okay, and then you had a gap down, broke below the 21-day, and then went all the way down to the 50-day before going sideways, and then created another new pattern to break out above. Well, here was your kind of breakout failure prior. We were actually long these 2 days and got out. Okay, I'm not in Tesla now. I did try it a little bit around the 21-day and just get out of the way. All in all, here's your new point of reference to trade against, 290.76. It's a little bit off that. I think give it some time to reset up. I'd love to see it, just work its way down towards this 50-day. If it starts working its way down towards this 50-day, that's when I probably come in and buy some options 3 to 6 months down the road for another move into the fall. But for right now, we've had lots of different strategies with Tesla. If you read my report, it was my stock of the year. When it broke above this, you could have done options, you could have done stock. Then we had another rebuy set up here, and now let's hope we get another rebuy set up into this area. Sometimes it likes to retest, and we'll see what's going on into this spot. But I would wait. We only like to be in Tesla as a swing long when it's above the 8 and 21 day like it was here, and then again here. But now that it's below, it needs some time. As far as Facebook, acted a little bit better, kind of the way Apple did yesterday, where it held the 8 day. I think give it some time. Should work off this big position. At this point, you now have some price discovery. What do I mean by that? Earnings are out of the way. Went as low as 148.72. If you're active, that's what you could trade against. And we see if this pattern rebuilds, kind of like Apple. Apple yesterday, everyone didn't know how it would react to earnings. Well, Apple held the 8 day, going sideways, and at some point, maybe we get that tax reparation. It makes new highs. I did buy it, and I'm in it versus spot. Another nice setup here, and hopefully it could lead the market, with some more strength. But all in all, earnings are out of the way, and now you can trade the price action. As far as Netflix, still looking good. On its way, working its way higher. A lot of you guys bought it when it broke above this 148.30. Then you had another pivot here at 153.5, and now it's working its way again, looking like it's trending up above the 8 day. Momentum stocks are great when they're above the 8 day and above the 21 day. So it's above that. You don't want to be short things like that. As far as some, what else is going on? Some guys said the bios look pretty good, so you take a quick look here at the bios. Yeah, they're hanging around above the 8 and 21 day, which is a good sign. Maybe at some point it breaks above this and, gives you some more action. A lot of guys are talking about Kite looking good. A lot of people also buying a lot of calls here. You look at the overall chart here on Kite, it's right at a critical level again. We'll see. Hopefully it gives us a nice intraday trade to do it. Otherwise, some guys can go out a few months and buying options. This was the last time on that data had a really nice move in consolidating. Blue usually moves with Kite. This too is, actually, it's still in the doghouse down here, but perked up a little bit today. So maybe there's an option play there too if you go in the money. It did wake up and took out this little range here, so sometimes that's good. Someone pointed this out to me, this little guy, but whatever. This is also has some volume spikes, and maybe it gets going with some of the other bios. Oil though, here's your oil chart. Broken, laggard, gross. What's Red Dog's rules? When you're below the 8 and 21 day, are you long or are you flat or are you short? You're at least flat, okay? And here's the 200 day above the 8 and 21 days. So here is your out in oil, okay? And that was 1077. That was a long time ago. If you look at the XLE, it's been in the downtrend. I posted a good blog post about the XLE. You should take a look. Started the year with an engulfing bar and then broke below the 8 and 21 day here. So that could have been your out. And then pretty much has been in this descending trend line ever since. Gave you one little false breakout. I was long here, got stopped out there, big deal. Also, I think we took it from the hole. So at this point, just a broken trend. Stay away from broken trends. If you like to short things, you could short strength here until it changes. That's not really my game. I like to look for strong stocks breaking out. Kind of like what happened here with Google. You look at Google, really strong. Okay, this Red Dog reversal happened on Monday where here was your earnings, came below that candle. Did 923.22. A lot of you guys bought there. If you bought that as your swing versus the earnings gap, congratulations. You just made yourself a nice trade. Now it's really extended from the 8 and 21 days, so I would take some care. Hopefully you reduced and only have small, so if it does pull back, you could buy it. Amazon, I have one eye on it. It's been out of play the past few days. Some people think it's starting to roll over. I think it's consolidating. All in all, though, if it gets above 945 and stays above it with some authority, maybe I'll get back in for a trade to new highs. All in all, though, it's holding the 8 day, letting it play catch up, so keep it on the radar. Don't let it drift away from you. But at this point, still a little wishy-washy, but I like the pattern setting up. And if the market's going to hang around, it could take that out for higher prices. So with all that said, we are hovering here in the S&P cash. We've been above this 2380 now for 5, 6, 7 sessions. Stocks underneath the surface feel a little bit broken, but there's still some leadership going on, and the markets are hanging in there. Usually, when stocks underneath are breaking down, the market follows along, but that hasn't happened yet. So there's this push-pull happening. You had the Washington talk about one step in appealing Obamacare. There's still going to be a lot of noise around that. Now that that's out of the way, they might be talking taxes, so listen up for that. And then tomorrow's the jobs report. What the street doesn't want to see is a print less than 100,000. That would probably cause the banks to sell off, the small caps to sell off, and little narratives to change. If you get a normal jobs number in line, I think we could stay with this narrative and just look for some good stocks and keep playing breakouts, buying the dip, massaging positions, and trying to make progress. Lastly, one of my friends asked me about Snap. I am in Snap. It's not a barn burner, but it did trigger above this spot here. I bought it pre-market when I heard the RBC analyst talking about it. It would have been nice if it closed above this, but all in all, starting to work its way higher above the 8 and 21-day moving average. Last spot we had was here. Came in, pulled back. So, it might not be a barn burner, but it's something to do. It does move at times, so it is a bit more constructive. With all that said, I hope the new format you're getting used to. The Morning Call Express, Monday through Thursday, is done by me. It's free, 8 minutes, sets up the table for the day. My S&P cash chart is there for you. It's the blueprint with some language around it, and then I try and wrap up the day. But if you want intraday actionable follow-ups like I do with Redler All Access, you have to be a part of that program. Be well, and I'm in Short Hills tomorrow, so have a great weekend, or I might interact a little bit, depending on how things go. Bye-bye.